Om 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 Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Hari Om. So yesterday in Vivekachoodamani, that part about the mind is not I, that is the part. We saw the verse 178, Asanga Chidrupamamum Vimohya Dehendriya Prana Gunair Nibadhyam Aham Mameti Brahmatya Jasram Manasvakrityeshu Phalopabhuktishu. So the mind is going around all the time saying Aham Mama, I and mine, I and mine. And the next few verses talk about how this mind cannot be I, the self. When the mind is that which recognizes something else as mine, and so there is a split between the I and the mind, and how this mind cannot be I, the self, because it is something that we can see, that we can know about. We know the thoughts in our mind, we know the qualities of our mind, we know the different states of our mind, we know the experiences that we have in the mind. So the mind cannot be I, the self. 179th verse, Adhyasa doshat purushasya samsrutihi Adhyasa bandhas tvamunaiva kalpitaha Rajastamo doshavato avivekinaha Janmadi dukkhasya nidanametat. This mind is the base. It is a cause for sorrow that we experience, of the sorrows beginning with birth. Janma adi dukkhasya nidanam. It is the substratum in which we experience the sorrows of birth and other sorrows that follow birth. Adhyasa doshat purushasya samsritihi. Samsriti is movement, birth and death is called samsara or samsriti. How does it happen? It happens because of the dosha of adhyasa. Adhyasa means superimposition. It is a very technical word that is used in Vedanta, adhyasa. And it is a dosha. Dosha means it is a problem. It is something that gives us sorrow. Adhyasa doshat purushasya samsritihi adhyasa bandhaha tu amuna eva kalpitaha. This bondage, how has it been created? It has been created by the mind. The mind is that which creates this bondage. The mind is that which superimposes. Kalpitaha rajastamo doshavataha avivekinaha. And by whom is it created? It is completely created by the mind, which has further flaws like rajas and tamas, and it is a non-discerning mind. It is a mind that does not have the right kind of discernment of who am I and what is not I. And with that lack of the right kind of discernment, there are also these flaws of rajas. Rajas means constant movement of the mind, constant disturbance of the mind, constant projections of the mind caused by the mind. Tamas means a state of inertia of the mind. Avivekinaha janmadi dukkhasya nidanam etat. So this space of the mind, which is filled with rajas and tamas, is the cause for sorrow that begins with birth and other sorrows. Janma means after birth, we go through many sorrows of life, where we experience different situations that give us sorrow, different objects that we have or we don't have that give us sorrow because they are either present or something that we really want and they are not present. They give us sorrow. Different kinds of people can give us sorrow. Whether having the people that we don't want can cause sorrow, not having the people around us that we really want can also give us sorrow. So these are the sorrows that we experience in life. And the verse 180, Atav prahurmano vidyam panditas tatvadarshinaha yenaiva bhramyate vishvam vayuneva brahmandalam. In the universe, you have vayu or air. It can create the abhramandalam. It can create the formation of clouds. It is vayu, it is air that pushes the clouds together, and it is air that also blows so hard and scatters the clouds. In the same way, ataf prahuhu mano avidyam. The mind is considered to be avidya. The mind is considered to be ignorance. Panditaha tatvadarshinaha. Who call the mind ignorance? The people who are panditaha. Panditaha means not exactly the priests who are all officiating in homas and yagnas and in the temples, not exactly, but they also can be a pandita. Pandayasya krite asti saha panditaha. The one who has knowledge of who am I is a pandita. Who is he? Tattvadarshinaha. He has experienced the truth within. Tattvadarshi. The one who has seen the truth within. Yena yeva bhramyate vishwam. Because of this mind alone, we are always scattered. We have scattered thoughts of ignorance all the time. And when all the scattered thoughts of ignorance go away because of the action of the mind, then we attain clarity. Just like how the clouds are brought in by the wind, and they can also be scattered because of the wind. In the same way, the scattered beliefs about the scattered thoughts that prevent us to see the truth, the reality, is brought by the mind, and the mind alone can remove the thoughts away. So, what is the work that we need to do? How can the mind scatter everything? Because there is impurity of rajas and tamas and impurity of ignorance in the mind. Ajnana. Ajnana means ignorance. I don't know. That goes away with jnana, meaning I know now. And then the impurities of rajas and tamas. Rajas means the wavy motion of the mind that has to be quietened down. Tamas means the ignorance of the mind, which is the repository of all malas, all impurities of the mind, which is like our kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. Means kama means desire, krodha means anger, lobha means greed, moha means delusion, mada is arrogance, matsarya is jealousy, then bhayam is fear, swartham is selfishness, and there are so many other impurities that stem from this. So all this has to be removed, and that is our work that we need to do in our life, day in and day out. Tanmana shodhanam karyam prayatnena mumukshunam vishuddhe sati chai tasmin mukti karapalayate. Mukti Karapalayate. Mukti means moksha. Moksha means liberation. How does liberation happen? By knowing that I am that self, I am that truth, I am that Brahman that I am searching for, I am that Brahman that I've been thinking about all this time and I've been looking for here and there. I am that divinity of the universe, I am that supreme joy. That is moksha. Realization is moksha. That is mukti, that knowledge. When I have that knowledge, I've got nothing to worry about because in any situation I am placed, before any person I am conversing, or any kind of a feeling that I have, I just have to know that I am that reality, I am that truth, and the reality is not affected by anything. So, muktihi karapalayate. For such a person, moksha or mukti is like having a fruit in our hand. It is so clear that I can see the fruit. For whom is it so clear? If the mumukshu, the one who seeks after liberation, is a mumukshu. If the mumukshu every day does one work, what is that work? Tan manaha shodhanam karyam, purification of mind. That is a work that has to be done by the mumukshu. Vishuddhe sati cha yetasmin. If the mind becomes pure, in that mind, muktihi karapalayate. If I want to see what is beneath the lake, the waters of the lake should not be agitated by throwing stones inside, meaning like desires, throwing desires inside, represented by stones. The waters will break into waves and I cannot see. And following those desires, when those desires are not fulfilled, the water will be agitated with anger, will be agitated with greed, will be dulled by delusion, will be closed or into made into some kind of a solid substance which will hide my vision, like arrogance or arrogance or dambha. Dambha means trying to show off too much, whatever I am not, trying to show it off. And then also matsarya, jealousy. These are the qualities. I'm talking of an example of stone and water, but these are these are the stones that we throw inside ourselves all the time through thoughts which are heavy as beliefs. Vishuddhe sati. So to purify those thoughts, we need to work on purification of the mind. Pujya Guruji, Swami Tejomayananda ji, has written a very beautiful text called Manashodhanam, and that text is the first of the videos in Chinmaya Surya channel. The first video, the first episode of Manashodhanam is in Chinmaya Surya. That's a different channel on YouTube. And the second episode onwards, up to the sixth episode of Manashodhanam, is in Chinmaya Surya channel. It is there in the first, in the beginning of this channel, I think in the year 2021, when we began this. It is a very, very beautiful text. And the text shows us about how the mind becomes impure and what we need to do to purify the mind. The first method for purification starts with kama. And what is that method shown? Asankalpat jayet kamaha. If I break the sankalpa, that is, I have desire because there is a strong will in me to attain something, attain some object. I love chocolate. I have the desire, I have the thought in me. If I love chocolate and I want to have it right now, it is a thought. If I work on that thought and I write it out on my notebook, I love chocolate and I want to have it right now, is a thought that I am having in my mind. Does that thought serve me? Is it going to help me right now? Will it make me go behind the chocolate? If it's going to make me go behind the chocolate to have the chocolate, then it is not a thought that I need to entertain. Instead of that, I simply change the words. I love fruit juice and I want to have it right now. just an entertainment. You can just try it out. If you have a desire for something that you really don't want and you don't need, you find out what is that sentence in your mind that is forming that thought. Write out that sentence and change the sentence to something that will do good to you right now, and try to meditate on that sentence. Maybe it is fruit juice, maybe it is some healthy exercise. You can get your happiness out of anything. It can be something that's healthy for you, and it can be something that is harmful for you. So try it out as a fun exercise. This is how purification of mind works. We will go into it in detail. You can even check out those videos on how the different qualities like kama, krodha can be purified in our mind. Tan manaha, even listening to Vivekachoodamani, even contemplating on the verses of Vivekachoodamani is one way by which we can purify our mind. Tan manaha shodhanam karyam prayatnena mumukshuna. The mumukshu or the seeker after liberation should put in effort even to clean our surroundings. Tomorrow is Swachhata Hi Seva. For 1 hour, our government, the central government, has called for everybody to give seva for 1 hour to make our Bharat as a Swachha Bharat, to clean our country. So even to work outside, lot of effort is required, even to clean outside. How much to say about the effort that is required to clean the mind that we cannot see? We don't know what desires we have. We don't know when we can break out into anger. We don't know when there is going to be jealousy. We don't know when we can have pride, or we don't know when we will get deluded. We don't know when we will have ignorance. We don't know what all we are ignorant about. So, to purify that mind, we have to work with prayatna, prakarshena yatna, mumukshuna, vishuddhe sati. When that mind becomes pure, chayetasmin, in that pure mind, means in that one pointed mind, it's like a clear water of energy within us. In that energy, there is no movement, there is no dancing, there is no wavering, there is no misplaced attention on some object outside. It is just there. That energy is just there to be used for some very good purpose whenever we need to use. Such a pure mind, mukti, in that mind, moksha or muktihi karapalayate. It's like a fruit in our hand. If I place an apple fruit in my hand, I can very clearly see that apple fruit. In the same way, I will experience mukti or moksha. Moksha or mukti is just that I can do what I want to do. I can be where I want to be. I can experience what I want to experience. So, in that case, it doesn't mean that I will become a globetrotter or a world traveler. Wherever I am, I will love to be there. Whatever I am doing, I will love to do that job. To whomever I am talking, I will love to interact that person. In whichever situation I am, I will be very happy in that situation. That is moksha. It can also mean that I can do whatever I want to do, wherever I want to go. But for a person who has really attained that state of mukti, will be very happy wherever he is placed, will be very happy to do whatever work he is doing. He will be doing only what he loves to do. He will be only speaking what he loves to speak. If he wants to be silent, he will be able to be silent. Now, if we try to be silent, somebody will come and disturb us and we will be forced to interact. So, there is no question of forcing a person who has attained that state of liberation. So, that is called mukti, and we will attain that state when the mind is pure. Mokshaikasakya vishayeshu ragam nirmulya sanyasya cha sarvakarma sachraddhayaya shravanadinishto rajasvabhavam sa dhunoti buddhehi. The person, for dhunoti means just purging, like removing that swabhava, the nature of rajas in our buddhi. Buddhi means mind. Rajas means oscillation of the mind, all the time questioning, all the time going after something, all the time being disturbed, being anxious to attain something. That is called rajas. Rajasvabhavam sir, that person, dhunoti, he removes that quality of rajas in his buddhi, in his mind. How? Moksha eka satya vishayeshu ragam nirmulya. He has the single pointed desire in life to attain moksha, and nirmulya, what does he remove? He roots out completely ragam, or desire for objects of the senses. I want to hear this, I want to see this, I want to taste this, I want to smell this, I want to touch this and feel this. That thought is not there, that desire is not there in that person, nirmulya. And then what does he do after he does not have those desires of in experiencing the world through the five sense objects, sense organs? What does he do? He does not pursue further actions having desires within him. I want to achieve this in life. One way is not to, the five sense organs is cutting out all the experiential pleasures of the world. Then we go after future pleasures by doing action. He gives up all actions also, because we do action only to gain some joy from the world. So he gives up doing all actions which bring him future joy. Sanyasya cha sarva karma, all kinds of actions, meaning he just drops everything and sits quietly in the seat of meditation. Sarva karma. Then what does he do? After sitting quietly, there should be sat shraddha. There should be shraddha, or that desire and that faith to know the truth within, and know that there is a truth within that exists, and listen to the words of the master and read from the books of the Upanishads. Sat shraddhaya yaha shravanadi nishtaha. That person, after sitting quietly, it is not just simply sitting and trying to look at the corner of the ceiling where there is one bit of dust hanging. So either go and tell somebody to remove the cobweb, or go after that duster and take a dustpan in hand, and then take that one cobweb, and then it will just, that work will be so absorbing that I will go through the whole corner of that ceiling, and then go to the other corner, and then I will move to the corner of the other ceiling, all the four corners of the room. And it is a simple work. I've been neglecting this work for a long time and nobody is doing. I might as well as do it, and then I'll go about dusting the whole house. So that's what happens. So sanyasya sarva karmaha. After I give up all actions, I should sit quietly and have shraddha in the words of the Guru and words of the Upanishads. And I should do this action of Shravana Adi Nishtaha. Shravana Adi means Shravanam, Mananam, and Nidhidhyasanam. Shravana means to listen, Mananam means to repetitively go after, contemplate on what we have listened. For example, if I listen, it can be a YouTube talk or it can be in a satsanga. Somebody says, you are that truth. And then you just go on contemplating, maybe for an hour or two, sitting quietly and contemplate, in what way am I the truth? You can take a notebook and a pen. I am the truth, so and so said. And he gives these examples. So in what way am I the truth? How do I experience myself as a truth? You can write, you can sit and think about it, or you can engage in a conversation with somebody about this particular topic alone. You can clarify it in your own mind. Shravanam, Mananam. So this Mananam is also an activity where the mind is engaged in movement. It is engaged in twisting and turning and many logical explanations we study. Mananam. Finally, give up that work also and sit quietly and just experience that I am that truth. I am that self that I am seeking. and sit quietly in that state of meditation. That is nidhityasanam. Shravanadi nishtaha. Then what happens if we constantly do this Shravanam, Mananam, Nidhidhyasanam? The Rajaswabhava in us, that frequent tossing of the mind, the disturbance of the mind will go away. The next verse, 183. Manomayo napi bhavet paratma ह्याद्यन्तवत्वात् परिणामि भावात् दुःखात्मकत्वात् विषयत्वहेतोः द्रष्टा हि दृश्यात्म तया न दृष्टः. The Manomaya Kosha cannot be the Supreme Self because it has a beginning and an end. The Manomaya Kosha has a beginning. It begins at one point and it will end with when I know something. There is a point when I don't know something and I use the mind and I know the object. Once I know the object, the purpose of the mind has ended there, beginning and the end. Adyantavatvat parinami bhavat. Why is the mind not the I or the self? The self does not have a beginning. The self does not have an end. The mind has a beginning. The mind has an end. And the mind keeps changing. Does my mind change? We know how many thoughts cross our mind. They say in a matter of 1 minute, we in the whole day, some around 60,000 thoughts keep going through our mind. How many feelings we experience in our mind? At a broad level, we experience 3 states in our mind: the waking state, the dream state, and the deep sleep state. And in the waking state and the dream state, we go through so many different changes in our mind, different changes in our thoughts, different changes in our moods, different changes in our experiences we go through. So the mind is parinami bhava. Dukkhatmakatvat vishayatva heto. Pain and suffering are the characteristics of the mind. We experience pain and suffering. And this mind is also an object of our understanding, an object of our cognition. If I am able to see the thoughts in my mind, I am able to see the feelings that I have in my mind, I am able to see the different experiences that are felt by my mind. So there is some kind of the mind is different. If I am able to see the scale, I am different from the scale. If I am able to see this pencil, I am different from this pencil. If I am able to see the mind, I am different from the mind. Vishayatva hetoho, the mind becomes an object. Drashtahi drishyatmataya na drishtaha. The subject, I, can never become the object of the knowledge. There is a whole text called Drishya Viveka, which we have spoken about in many of the Sunday episodes called the Vision of Vedanta, which is talking about the difference between who is the drashta, the seer, the I, and what is the seen, the drishya. So the mind is a seen, it is an object of the seer. It can never become the seer, which is the one that sees. The next few verses, the Vijnana, so mind is not the seer. So we will see the other verses on the Vijnanamaya Kosha or the intellect in the subsequent sessions of this Vedanta Shravana Sadhana Yagna, which will continue from Monday to Friday, this coming Monday to Friday. Tomorrow we will have Vision of Vedanta from this text Atma Bodha. Yes. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसोर्मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। हर नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम।